Hello, I'm Tom Cohen. I'm here with Greg.
Hey Tom, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm the owner of Bridlington Dental Studio.
So Greg, what's it like being a dentist, first of all?
I enjoy the job. I've been a dentist over 20 years now, and it's a good job. It's nice to be able to help people, and I've been in the same practice or in the same area 20 years now, and a lot of people in Bridlington will know me and know that we try and do our best to help people. I know we have this reputation of being sadists as dentists, but I promise you we are trying to help people, get people out of pain, get people to have a nice smile, that sort of thing.
Excellent. And you're the principal dentist?
I am, yeah.
What does that mean?
So the principal is the person who owns the practice.
The buck stops with you?
Buck stops with me, yeah. So there's still the majority of dental practices are run that way in the UK. Obviously, there are corporate-run practices.
Private equity firms coming in?
Yeah, Bupa, My Dentist are the two big ones. Obviously, we just lost the Bupa practice in Bridlington. I sometimes have my worries about whether it's good for dentistry in the long run, but I think it's coming whatever. But yeah, there's still lots of basically family-run practices like mine all over the UK and in East Yorkshire.
Okay, so how many patients can you handle in a business this big? Is it limited to the number of seats, the number of rooms?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I would look. It varies a lot on how. On the clinician, type of work they're doing, how fast they work, and that sort of thing. But I would imagine, a full-time dentist would see maybe 2,000 to 3,000 people on average. Some people can do double that, but then you're churning through your work.
Okay, and it's about you set aside about 15 minutes per patient visit.
Yeah, so at our practice we do 20 minutes for a checkup and a clean. Obviously, we're a private practice, so we have the luxury of a bit more time than say NHS practices who are more time pressured.
Well, we'll come to that, I'm sure.
Yes.
And just on that topic, if somebody doesn't make it, I'm a customer as it happens, so I know that you send an email out when you do ask us to reply on the email, so you know we're coming.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of a reminder, which my missus then reminds me.
That's the idea. Yeah.
And how much does that affect your business and your efficiency, and also planning when people just don't turn up? Things happen. You get caught up in traffic jams. You get things can happen in life.
Yeah.
How does that sort of affect the efficiency of your business?
Yeah, look, I have to say the vast majority of people are understanding that, let us know if they can, and like you say, emergencies arise for everyone at times. So we keep an eye on it. We probably lose 10 to 20 hours a month to people not turning up.
Oh, so could you slot people in at short notice? Is that doable?
Well, not really, because if you don't know that they're not coming, then you're waiting for them to come, and then by the time you've waited for 10 minutes to see what they're turning up.
But if they have the courtity to send a message or
then we can slot people in. Obviously, the situation being what it is in Bridlington, there's tons of people who want help, and we'd be able to help some of those people if we. So
do you have like a backup list?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah,
get on that backup list.
Yeah, we've got a long list of people looking for help, and we haven't been able to work through that as much as we would have liked to. We would like more time.
And then as the principal practitioner, the principal dentist, at some stage you made the commercial decision to either stop or not do NHS dentistry. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk me through that? Yeah,
so I set up this practice, what we call a squat practice, where I just set it up on my own. I didn't buy a practice. We started with basically 0 patients, and
how long ago?
Built it from there. So that'll be about 12 years ago.
Okay. So in the modern technology, you would be a founder.
Yes. And I actually looked at starting an NHS practice at that time. This is obviously, 12, 15 years ago. That was going to be in Hornsey. And the way the NHS works is you are given a contract of a certain amount of work to do, so what they call units of dental activity, or UDAs, and they would say, right, here's 15,000 UDAs, for example, and we will pay you to do those UDAs, and you must do that pretty much exact amount.
So it's a unit of dental
activity,
and my understanding is that there could be a range of things fitted into there, but they're kind of like a 15-minute slot.
Yeah, broadly speaking. I don't particularly like the system, and a lot of dentists don't like the system. It's a huge oversimplification of dentistry. There's one, you're awarded 1, 2, or 3 UDAs depending on what you do. And as you say, that encompasses, so everything that a dentist can do is slotted into 3 categories. Like, to me, that's crazy knowing what I know about dentistry.
Do we know when that started? As in, when?
Oh, yeah, that'll be a while ago now.
Well, so it was at least. It
was more than 15 years ago. Yeah.
And I'll check it properly online. But it immediately, to me, because I work in modern technology and a lot of things online, the pace of change is quickens. And so those UDAs are still those 3 things. Fit all the new stuff that we've since developed in the last 20 years into those 3 things. Yeah,
and that's the thing. I think that new stuff just, it's just really difficult for NHS practices to implement any new stuff. Like everywhere else, dentistry is going digital in a big way, and I think the NHS practices are being left behind because there's no accounting for that.
And so in a squab. Squat practice, which is like a basically it's a ground floor practice, and then you build it from the ground floor, which I get.
I guess that's it, yeah.
So you have to buy all the kit, and then what is the single most expensive piece of kit?
The dental chair would be, yeah. So a dental chair might cost, from £10,000 for a cheap one to £40,000 for a really flashy one.
40 grand for a chair?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's an awful lot of UDAs.
That's an awful lot of UDAs. Yeah, so the way the system works is that whoever owns that practice takes on the responsibility of paying the staff, looking after the building, all the normal stuff of business ownership. And what's difficult about that is if you run an NHS practice, you're given X amount of money, you've got to make all the dentistry happen. Everything else is your problem. Staffing problems, prices going up, etc., etc. That's not the NHS's problem. That's your problem.
Okay.
So, anything goes wrong, you lose money.
You're given a fixed budget, make it work.
Yeah. And
that's a bit scary. That's a bit scary in any business.
It works on an accountancy basis, and this is why I don't like that whole UDA system. It's nice and neat for accountants. They can fit it in the spreadsheet really well. Go, here's what we do. We've given you £1 million. You make it. You sort it out, and then they just fill in a number at the bottom saying you saw.
Okay, so a term that I use in my industry is management by abdication. There you go. Spend that money wisely.
Yeah.
And then what happens if you can't hit the targets within that? Are you aware of?
That's right. So obviously I don't work in the NHS myself, I should say. So,
but you have colleagues who do. So.
But of course, I understand the system. I have worked in the NHS, and there's a clawback system, they call it. So they will take money back if you don't hit those targets. So it can be difficult. You might have a dentist leave the practice. Dental recruitment's been a massive problem, especially since Brexit and COVID. And if you're stuck without a dentist to fulfill the UDAs that you require,
that's back to it being your problem.
It's your problem. Yeah, basically it's your problem. So they'll say, you haven't done as much as you should have. We want some money back. But you've probably spent it already because
chairs cost
you've paid the staff. You've
bought the chairs, bought the tools, bought the X-ray equipment.
Yeah, and I know people don't feel sorry for dentists. Everyone thinks we do very well, and it's a nice profession where we can be well rewarded. but the system is not encouraging of small businesses like mine, the way it's set up at the moment, and that's why we're seeing a lot of dentists leaving the NHS.
So you may not know, I actually ran a personal campaign to bring dentists to Bridlington. I actually went around all the property agents, got the list of houses that would best be converted to be a squab.
Mm-hmm.
I did some research on it, and then I got in touch with Hull Trains and asked them if they could offer a special deal to bring dentists from London. And I did some Facebook adverts to see if we could actually attract them from London.
Yes.
Because in a competitive market like you've just described, getting dentists to work up here, what a lovely place to be a dentist. I mean, who wants to pay UDAs and drive into London and deal with all that nonsense when they can move up here, be rich from the get-go and afford a new practice that would work. So I ran some adverts last year, I think it was.
Okay.
Didn't get any results at the end of the day, but I tried.
Yeah.
I certainly put my own money into it and had a go. And it's like, I absolutely could sell Bridlington to a prospective dentist. If any dentists out there want to get in touch and find out why Bridlington would be a good place to move, get in touch, because I can absolutely tell you the quality of life you get in the business up here, you'll be doing the same job, but the people will be very happy to see you, and you'll be very happy to live here.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I came from South Africa just over 20 years ago now, and I didn't really intend to settle in Bridlington, but I have because I've enjoyed it. The job opportunities have been good, and there's plenty of work here. I mean, I know other areas of the country that are better supplied with dentists. There's probably guys starting to find that there's not enough work to go around. Whereas here,
that's not the case.
That's not the case.
Is there anything that you would like to say about dentists? About being on the other side of the fence, getting caught up in this political football where it's not a good business model to run, so you've chosen not to run it because you still have to pay your own bills in life. But then people outside think, well, you just charge too much, you're greedy, you're only out for yourselves. Do you want to represent the industry a bit, if you can?
Yeah, I think I would say that it's a great shame to see dentistry in the state it is at the moment in the UK. It should be that everyone can be taken out of pain and looked after, and there is very little provision for that in this area at the moment, as far as I can see.
It's quite scandalous, but I won't put that in your video. I'll do a separate video. It's quite scandalous.
It is. I mean, that should not be how it works. And I think it's been a problem that's been brewing for as long as I've been in this country now, and no one's had the political, whatever it is, motivation to really deal with it. In my opinion, I would love to see a system that would deal with everyone's dental emergencies. Let's get people out of pain. Let's make sure that is covered. How you pay for the rest of it, I think the NHS's sort of dentistry is unlikely to see much more money nationally. And so I think we would have to accept a reduced NHS service so that the budget that's allocated at the moment would fairly cover what the NHS can provide for people. So if we stuck to basic NHS treatments, if people got extractions, basic fillings, dentures, and I think anything beyond that, we're going to have to look at a model where that is...
Let me ask you a really wild question, an unexpected question.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to mention turkey teeth.
Yes.
How is that affordable? How can the maths of that, flying over to Turkey, at least 2 flights, possibly 3 flights, 3 holidays, which obviously people like, and I can't knock them for that.
Yeah.
And then they end up with a set of, is it just crowns?
Generally crowns, yes. Yeah, nearly always crowns. Yeah.
In your best estimate, and I'm not going to hold you to it, what sort of value is that? I could ask people who've had it done. I'd have to.
That's right, and I think it's about half the price of what it is here. So to make the maths of that work, I suppose you've sort of got to be able to halve the prices of everything. So there's a dental laboratory and a dental technician that makes the crowns. I imagine that's half the price of what it is here, when it's not being made in the UK. So
if there's an entrepreneur out there good with using Amazon, they could set this up. They could actually order and do digital printing, bring it over here, little secret lab. It's doable.
It's happening, So there was...
But the fitting and the oil inspections and the because they do go wrong. And then if they go wrong, is it your burden if it's gone wrong? Should you have to fix it?
Look, I think those people have got to be helped. I know there's some dentists who say, they're not, they're going to refuse to treat anyone who's had their teeth done elsewhere. I don't think that's fair. I mean, I think it's fair enough for people to go somewhere where it's cheaper to get their teeth done. I actually don't have a personal objection to that. Obviously, there are risks that they have problems, and then they're going to have to find someone to sort them out. That would be extremely difficult in Bridlington, for instance. There are only 2 dental practices, neither of which are really taking on patients. So
so it's a big risk.
It's a risk, because especially something like crowns, there's a 20 to 25% risk of the nerve dying, and you're needing a root canal after a crown. And if you can imagine, you're having however many you have done in Turkey, 10 or 20, it's almost bound to be the case that one of them's going to die. You're going to need a root canal. You're going to get an abscess. Who's going to deal with that for you?
Wow. Okay, so it's a personal risk, and then and then once it's done, are they sort of good for 20 years?
Yeah, maybe. The average lifespan of a crown would be around 15 years. Obviously, 1 or 2. Some of them won't go as long as the average, and some will go a bit longer. But obviously, the sad thing I think is that we're seeing a lot of young people doing it. If you're 25 or 30 and you have crowns, at 50, you're almost certainly going to be replacing those.
I hate to think what NHS dentistry will be like in another 20 years' time. Unless we fight for it, we have to fight for it. That's all I can say. Greg, is there anything else you'd like to add? I hate to think I've missed out on something.
I'm sure we've missed out elements.
We could say brush your teeth.
People can let us know.
Brush your teeth is good.
I think, absolutely. The main thing in dentistry is sugar. Sugar is what causes decay. Brushing is what helps with, obviously, decay, but it also gum disease. And people taking responsibility for their own teeth is what's got to happen.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time, Greg.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom.